Donald Trump is an American fascist who idolizes foreign fascists like Vladimir Putin. He wants the power to execute his opponents. He wants the power to kill his opponents. This is what he admires. His specific fetish is for the type of power that can do harm, that can kill, that can do damage. That's why he venerates Vladimir Putin. And no American president should venerate a strongman, a dime store Mussolini like Putin, who threatens the world with nuclear destruction, invades his neighbors, and kidnaps their children. It is disgraceful. This is The Morning. Donald Trump said again this weekend that immigration is plaguing America because we are receiving people from, quote unquote, as he calls them, shithole countries. Of course, these countries have something in common. They are majority-minority countries. They are countries where people have brown eyes, black skin, brown skin. They are not white, Norwegian, blonde, blue-eyed. And this is not accidental when Trump says that why can't we have immigration from nice countries? What he might as well be saying is, why can't we have immigration from countries where the master race lives? That's what he means. So when he talks about to his chief of staff, John Kelly, while he's supposed to be at a World War I battlefield about, well, this is all of the good stuff that Hitler believed in and accomplished and did. This stuff has meaning because he is a racist of the most sinister and despicable type. He means something very specifically when he means the nice countries. What he means is pale-skinned, white, blue-eyed. What he means is the Aryan ideal. No joke. He says it out loud and we're all numb to it. Simple fact of the matter is that the country of birth that has achieved more valor awards amongst American soldiers fighting under the American flag is Mexico. So the contributions to the United States of brown and black-skinned people from all over the world are monumental. And when Trump says what he says, he degrades that, he dehumanizes the people that help build the country. The Chinese workers, for example, that built the Transcontinental Railroad. It's deliberate, it's purposeful, it's nasty, it's cruel, and it is unbecoming at a profound level for any person who seeks high political office in the United States of America, let alone a former president, let alone somebody who aspires to sit behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office. It is outrageous, and it must be opposed. It must be condemned because it is clear what it is. It is the most obvious and odious example of direct racism out of the mouth of someone in proximity to the office of the presidency in 100 years. It is a statement that turns the clock back, literally a century. It eradicates progress, the idea of racial justice, this notion that we should all be measured on the basis of the content of our character. Trump is decimating that with these statements. It's wrong. It's disgusting. It's ugly. Americans should not tolerate it. It debases the 70 million immigrants who were born in other lands that came to this country, of which they have hundreds of millions of descendants, of which I am one, and most likely that you are one. Donald Trump's America First foreign policy is a replica of what the original America First foreign policy was. It is a policy of appeasement. And specifically, it is an appeasement of fascism. The original American First foreign policy appeased German Nazis, German fascists, Italian fascists, Japanese fascists, Japanese nationalists, Japanese militarists. This new America first, this new American fascism appeases Russian fascists. Nothing is new. It is the same theory. It just has a new brand. It's just shined up. It's now the golden key that is the symbol of American fascism. America first is an anti-American philosophy. It is the philosophy that looked at Adolf Hitler with admiration. It is the philosophy that said we should not stand with England. It is the philosophy of surrender, of appeasement. It is the philosophy that said of fascism, that said of human slavery, that this is something to be admired. It is the most wrong and errant political philosophy and the most immoral in all of American history. The America First movement was the Committee of the Bund, Nazi sympathizers. It's a despicable movement. And the idea that it's been rehabilitated in the 2020s, in the 21st century, as if none of the lessons of the Second World War apply, that none of the dangers of appeasement, none of those lessons were learned. It is an astonishment of the age. But the original America First movement was un-American. This America First movement is un-American. That America First movement coddled a foreign dictator who hated humanity. This America First movement coddles a foreign dictator who hates humanity. That America First movement appeased a foreign dictator who invaded a neighboring country and said that the aggression was necessary because the peaceful neighbor was in fact the aggressor. Today's America First has an identical enthrallment to the Russian dictator who's doing the exact same thing. So the philosophy is dangerous. It is ugly, and it is clear what it is. It is clear what it was then. It is clear what it is today. It is a philosophy of appeasement. And Donald Trump is an American fascist who idolizes foreign fascists like Vladimir Putin. He wants the power to execute his opponents. He wants the power to kill his opponents. This is what he admires. He doesn't look at the French president, the British president, the Estonian prime minister, and look at people and say, I share their values. I have a commitment to human freedom, dignity, and liberty. The only thing he cares about is the idea of power, of strength, and his specific fetish is for the type of power that can do harm, that can kill, that can do damage. That's why he venerates Vladimir Putin, and no American president should venerate a strongman, a dime store Mussolini like Putin, who threatens the world with nuclear destruction, invades his neighbors, and kidnaps their children. It is disgraceful. The Russian war has been costly for the Russian people. There are more than 500,000 casualties, and there are nearly 50,000 Ukrainian casualties. It is not the job of the former president of the United States to suggest what the Ukrainian people are supposed to give away of their land, of their history, of their territory to appease the invader after so much sacrifice. It's not the job of the American president to say, you must, as if Ukraine is a latter-day Czechoslovakia sold out, where the Czechoslovakians were not even allowed into the room with Daladier, with Neville Chamberlain and Adolf Hitler, when the future of a nation was decided without anyone from that country in the room. It remains one of the most dishonorable and despicable chapters in all of human history. It is the great betrayal of the democracies to any small country, and it can never be repeated again, and it must never be something that an American participates in. The United States of America must arm the Ukrainian people and help them fight with the weapons they need for as long as they are able and willing to fight against the Russian aggression. Because for as long as they fight and as successfully as they hold the Russians back, it means Russia will not be able to swallow Europe, and that World War III will be postponed. We live at the edge of a dangerous hour, a dangerous new epoch. We live at the edge of a new world war. And it's time that we start talking about it. It's time to start seeing it, because what's coming is clear. The winds are blowing. A great violence has been unleashed in Ukraine, and no American president should say to the Ukrainian people that it's time for you to surrender, because we don't have the right. It's shameful. We must stand with these people. We must stand with them and arm them until the end. And if we don't, and if they fail, this war will spread, and it will endanger millions of American lives. Thank you for listening to my political commentary. If you like what you heard today, please also consider subscribing to The Warning daily newsletter on Substack.